Okay, guys, this is the review. This is Mark Smith and Chris Yes's review of The Final Destination, or Final Destination 4. This was originally planned to be the last one of the series until The Final Destination 5 came out. This film sort of starts on a racetrack, and sort of cars going around. Someone has a premonition that the racetrack's going to collapse. They say, okay, let's get out of here. About a group of just under 10 of them sort of run out, and the stadium then does actually collapse. There's a very good bit where a girl gets her head smacked in by a tyre. So let's go straight into the story. So I would say the story is just the same as like the originals, the first three. It's not massively different. On the other hand, it's still quite entertaining. It's quite interesting. If you liked the originals, you will probably like this. I would give the storyline about an 8. Marcus?
Okay, so this one, I felt storyline went a bit downhill from the second and the third one, and a little bit from the first one. But I mean, it's still a competent film if you watch it in 3D. Because I got to get across that. Me and Chris, we saw it in the cinema in 3D,
yeah.
and it was amazing in 3D. It's the best 3D film I've seen. But you take away that gimmick, and the storyline becomes a gimmick in itself, because of you don't really care about anything in this film because of you just watch.
Busy dodging screws and stuff.
Yeah, but if you watch it in 2D, guys, you're not going to get anything really out of this, which is all you can really do unless you got a 3D TV. So I mean, the storyline is the same as the other ones, only this time it's a racetrack, and some people who really some really unrelatable people with just survive and crash, and then basically they just die, and you're like, okay, and you're just watching it, and you're thinking, okay, so some people I don't care about have died. What they do? Anyway, so yeah, the storyline I don't think was very good in this one. I'll probably say the storyline is probably a 3 in this.
The characters. So first,
yeah, did you read some? Okay, so
the characters, I would say, it's gone a bit downhill from the third one, where it's gone more sort of stereotypical. There's a guy that's sort of flicking a coin, trying to be cool. There's a guy who's sort of nerdy and awkward. They've got like a black guy who's meant to be there to be the token, the sort of cool guy. So I think they needed to sort of develop the characters more. I would give the characters about 4. Marcus?
Okay, so the characters in this film, I found them oddly likable, even though you don't really care about what happens to them. I mean, you're thinking, okay, they're okay characters, but they're very underdeveloped. I mean, less so than Final Destination 1. And, I mean, it's not helped by the acting, but I'll talk about that in a little while. And I don't know, I just really didn't give a shit about what happened to any of the characters, so I'll probably say the characters are about 2 out of 10. Good, yes?
Okay. So, what I would say about next is acting. Now, I'm not going to say that the acting was bad, because I thought it was alright, but on the other hand, it's sort of, you could see that the roles they picked them for was what the people were actually like. So they had like American girls who were meant to be like stereotypical American girls, and you could tell even when the camera's not on them, that's how they actually are. They had the sort of the cool guy who you could sort of tell when the camera's on him, he's sort of outwardly is very confident. So I would say the acting, it's not bad, but it's not sort of record-breaking acting. So I would definitely give it about a 5. Marcus?
Okay, so the acting in this, I thought they dulled it down way too much. I mean, there are a couple of good actors, like the black guy, cool guy. I thought they were perfectly fine in the film. The acting was actually pretty good, and they were pretty much the only 2 I could care about. But the rest of the acting was very, very subpar. It was a lot worse than Final Destination 1. I don't know what happened. This one made them the most money, so hopefully they took the advice they got from the bad acting in this and apply better actors to Final Destination 5 for seeing that well. But I mean, yeah, it could have been so much better, and I'm sure they had the money to pay competent actors for this film, but I mean they didn't. They just stuck with the gimmick of 3D, let the acting, I don't know, like third, fourth on the list. So yeah, the acting was really bad in my opinion. I'd probably say the acting's 2, maybe 3 out of 10.
So the atmosphere. I would say that the atmosphere, they tried to keep it tense, but then it sort of got lost in that everyone started having premonitions. On the other hand, I suppose they did try and make it sort of as tense and scary as they could. But parts of it where you knew, yeah, he's going to die like that, became very common. And then sort of after a while it started turning into more of a comedy, where it sort of started to spoof itself. So I would give the atmosphere about a 4. Marcus?
The atmosphere in this, I really didn't care for much. I mean, it was a very comedic atmosphere in this. There wasn't much serious parts to it, and I mean, I didn't find it tense in the slightest. And so yeah, I didn't really care much for the atmosphere. It was way too comedic. So I'd say that the atmosphere is probably a 4, and leave it to Chris. Yes, while I turn my phone off.
Okay. So the gore and violence, as we've said in the last 3, the violence will be sort of not available because they're not violent movies, they're more sort of gore movies. The gore, I don't think this one was that gory. I mean, there's a bit where sort of a woman gets her head sort of half cut off. That's probably the worst you're going to see. The gore is more sort of unrealistic than anything, so you can see. So when you knew what was going to happen, you'd think, oh yeah, that can happen in real life. So I mean, obviously this is Final Destination, you're not really watching it for real life, but on the other hand, you want to sort of see something that makes you go, that's horrible. But you didn't feel that. I mean, yeah, I would say that the gore, I would give it about a 5. Marcus?
Okay, so the gore, it is very gory, this one, but gore is so fake that, I mean, you really don't feel any effect to it unless you're watching it in 3D, because when I saw it in 3D and just saw it gushing out at me, I just like, I almost felt a bit sick from just seeing it gushing out at me. But when it's not happening like that, when I'm just watching it in 2D, I'm like, oh great, another B-grade horror film. But I know they dialed down the gore for the 3D, so they had to sacrifice it.
Yeah.
So I'd say, knowing that, and knowing that the 3D actually helped the film, I'd probably have to rate gore higher than that. I'd probably have to say the gore is about a 6. So I'd say, if you're going to watch this film, you watch it for the gore.
So the overall, as much as I've criticised it, I do think this is one of the best Final Destinations, to be honest. I don't know why, because it's really sort of unwatchable, but once you've watched it once, it's kind of easier to watch it twice. Overall, I would say it's a 6, but if you sort of split it up into everything, it's really not as good as I'm saying. Marcus?
Okay, so overall I'm going to have to rate this in 2 aspects. I'm going to have to rate it in an aspect of watching it in 3D at cinema, and an aspect of watching it at home in 2D. Okay, so the Final Destination, or Final Destination 4, I would say that watching it in 3D, it's such a fun ride. I don't know, you're probably going to be surprised by this score, but in 3D I'd have to give this film probably an 8 out of 10, because it's just so much fun, and such a fun ride. Whereas if you're watching at home in 2D, you don't get any of that effect. So I'd say that it's probably an avoid if you're going to watch it at home, and I'd say that it's probably a 5. So yeah, that's basically my score. And so
that's all the Final Destination movies. Obviously, as we've said, we're going to be seeing Final Destination 5 later, and we'll give you a review on that. So that's all the Final.
Although by the time these are all uploaded, 5 will probably be up there as well.
By the time these are all uploaded, 5 will be out of the cinema.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Don't make this too long because it's gonna take ages to upload. Anyways, so yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. This is Mark Smith 50 and Chrissy S from 2009 signing out.